It had been 12 long years since Ariel's rash decision. In her head, she heard a sarcastic laugh. I was in love, she smirked. In love with a man she had known for all of 4 days. And Eric had not been much older. They had married as children. Truly engaged parents would have waved at least a few warning flags at the couple. Ariel clapped her hands and shouted, more wine, at her servants. It was a refrain the servants were quite used to. The now queen consumed 3 or 4 bottles a day. It was one of the few things that numbed the pain she felt inside. Handed a fresh glass, Ariel sloshed the liquid around before taking a long sip. Wine was one of the advantages to living as a human, she thought, maybe the only one. Living under the sea, sobriety was practically dictated by circumstance. It was near impossible to drink anything but salt water in the depths of the ocean. At least Eric wasn't around today to disrupt her drinking. She knew that her husband probably loved her in some sort of way, but he also loved gambling and his mistresses. Both of Eric's hobbies had destabilized their small country's finances. At least his interest in other women kept him out of the castle, giving Ariel time to herself. After their wedding, the now queen had come to find out that Eric routinely fell in love with women on a whim, and he had a certain type too. The woman before Ariel had been a red-haired siren with webbed toes, and the one before that had hailed from the fairy kingdom and sported a lovely set of wings. And post-marriage, Eric often asked if Ariel might be able to turn her legs back into a tail. He had a type. Ariel liked to think of Eric's conquests both before and after her as women, but she really knew that most of them were girls. Eric felt like anyone over the age of 24 was ready for the retirement home. Ariel set her wine down and picked up a crab cake. Delicious, she thought, as she savored the crab's flaky flesh. Just after wine, fresh seafood had become Ariel's favorite indulgence as a human. Her father, King Triton, had always harped on her that the sea creatures are our subjects too, and had legislated a strict vegetarian diet consisting solely of seaweed. Had she stayed a mermaid, she would have gotten rid of her father's silly rules and traded her fish citizens for barrels of wine. The sea had lots of dopey little angelfish. No one would miss those annoying flounders. How to drink the wine? She knew she would have figured it out. She took another bite of her crab cake. She bit in with extra relish. Deep down, she was hopeful that her next meal of crab was that ridiculous Sebastian. As an advisor to her father, maybe he should have cautioned her about the life she was about to lead. Be a human, fall in love with a womanizer, give birth to 3 bratty kids, and have nothing in common with anyone else around you. At least Triton would have eventually died, freeing her from the grasp of her overprotective father. Now she just drank away her days, longing for something more meaningful than the pretty prison she found herself locked in. Of course, none of her former friends made her blood pressure race more than that ridiculous Scuttle. That lying sack of seagull dung had filled her young head with romantic notions of humans and was the reason for her predicament. At least her husband had been okay with her plan to exterminate all of what she called the rats of the air in their kingdom. When her servant served her Scuttle's head on a platter, it was one of her happiest days on the surface world. Servants, more wine, she yelled. There were 11 hours still left in the day, and she was far too sober this morning.
Fan, I think we need a shirt of no comments. Just that. The wine mix. Well done, Jason.
Well done, Jason. I like
No hexes.
quoting. This is why you have 10 books.